Hi everyone, it's Heidi from flutterbyheidi.co.uk and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in the United Kingdom, and today I'm going to be sharing something using the fabulous new butterfly bouquets bundle, and it's a pretty fun fold. And just to show you the bundle, just to remind you what's in there, you have got the most beautiful stamp set, which is a single large stamp that stamps all of these butterflies. You can see I've got it on my Stamparatus there because I found that's a great way to make sure I get a really good image every time. And there are coordinating dies, and that single die cuts out all of those butterflies. As you can see, that's the die there, it's just one die. And it also cuts out this image from the limited release designer series paper. So the paper is 6 sheets, 6 designs, double-sided, and you get 48 sheets. So you get loads of each one, which is fantastic. So as you can see on the one side, lovely butterfly images, and then some overall patterns on the reverse. And some of these patterns on the reverse are absolutely beautiful with the blending that we've got on there. So there we go. So that's the paper. The other paper that's on limited release is this 12 by 12 wood effect paper, and it's actually got some texture to it as well. You can colour that with blends or stamp on it. Yeah, and then the other dies that come are these beautifully detailed ones you can see here, and the ones I haven't done yet, which I must do, are these ones here, which are some couple of little tiny butterflies images, and this brickwork one that cuts an aperture, and this texture one here, and some lovely little stuff holes as well. So a really great bundle. The stamp and dies will be in the new catalogue in May, but the papers won't. So if you love the papers, then you need to get them now. So that's my kind of little display board. So what are we actually going to make? Well, it's a kind of variation. I haven't seen one exactly like this, but I'm sure somebody out there has already done it. But it's just a card where you're actually, it's just the corner that folds over, and then you open up, and I've just added one of the butterflies on some acetate to make that pop out, and it does stand up on its own, which I always like. And then the reverse, I've just put a panel on the back and partially stamped it to give you space for your sentiment. I'm not 100% sure about this card, probably because it's the Magenta Madness, which I find a really kind of harsh, hot pink. Love these ones, but perhaps I might have changed the colourway. But anyway, so that's what we're going to make. It's a really easy one. It's a great one if you're just starting out doing fun folds as well. So I thought I'd use one of the other papers in the pack, and I'm going to go for this paper here, which has got an all-over pattern, and that you've kind of got just jade and mint macaron in there. So I've done a couple of pieces. So let's get started. So right, apologies. Okay, the first thing you want to do is start off with a piece of card. Like, I was just looking for my measurement sheet. So this is 19.5 by 15.5 centimetres, 6 1/8 by 7 3/4, and you're going to score on the short edge at 10.5 centimetres. And then you're going to score on the long side with that section at the top at 5 centimetres, like so. Okay, so you've got one score line and another score line going across. Now what you need to do is you need to do a little bit of measuring, and you just need to mark at 5.5 right, you need to mark on this edge at 10 centimetres. Little mark, and the same on this top edge at 10 centimetres. And then simply line those up, and we're going to score diagonally. So you really want to make sure that those are slap in the middle, and when you put it down you should see your cross as well. Okay, so those are the score lines. So we've scored, we've marked those 2 points at 10 centimetres, and we've scored diagonally between them. So pop my trimmer away for a moment. And now we can do some reinforcing. So I want to reinforce these score lines into both directions first, so because they're both going to come in here, and then I'm just going to have a look and just see that those kind of line up with the score lines as well before I burnish. And then all that happens to create our fold is those two corners come in, and then you can burnish that into position like so. So it's as simple as that, just a little corner, just a corner fold really variation. So now we want to add some layers. So I've got some mint macaron cardstock, and we want a layer for the inside here. So just as a contrast, so that inner piece, I'm just going to take it just a couple of millimetres smaller than the outer to a narrow border. So I want it, a piece that is just sort of 10.2 by 14.2. I will work out the measurement, all the measurements in inches for you. I should have said that was 2 inches on those. So this is going to pop in there just with a little border you can see around the outside edge. So that pops in like so. Now, because we've, what I've done is I've done some of the die cutting in advance. I'll be quite honest with you, because when I cut these out, obviously I had leftovers. So I've got some lovely butterfly images, which are sort of the Just Jade and the Mint Macaron. And when you cut out that big image, you find you've got some edge pieces. Don't throw them away, because all you need to do is then just trim those down, and you can add those onto the edges of your card to create a really pretty effect. So just have a play around where you might like those butterflies. And just add those on. And I say, not wasting anything from that DSP then. And as usual, I've got a little envelope with some little extras in. Just line that up with your piece of mint macaron on that edge, like so. So now what we want to do is create our panels for the sides. So you can see I've already cut some pieces, and these are all 4.8 centimetres. What I decided to do was just on this one, create them so that there's just a top and bottom border. So while that's drying, I've got 3 pieces here. So I've got this piece which is 14.3 by 4.8. This piece is 10.3 by 4.8. And this piece is just 4.8 by 4.8. So I've kind of cut a strip and then cut it into the lengths. And again, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mark on this edge at 4.8. No, I'm not. I'm actually going to mark at 4.3. I lied. Okay, 4.3 is my mark, because I'm going to cut diagonally, because that's going to just pop into the edge. So I can just rub those marks out. So this is our side piece. Our top piece is 4.3. So I'm going to mark on this edge here at 4.3 and then trim that down. So that's going to go across the top there. So again, just get rid of that little mark. And then this is our square. So we now want to create our layers to go on top of those. So these ones I want to be about, I say 4.3, I think I've done that wrong because I think those were the 4.8 ones. Yep, they were the 4.8 ones. Okay, so I just need to take a fraction off there. There we go. You see, best laid plans and all that. Let's just do that. That was 4.8. I was right the first time. So you are marking these are 4.8 wide. You're marking them at 4.8 to create our angle. These ones are going to be 4.3 wide. Are they? No, they're going to be 4.5, 4.5. Right. So yes, so the card ones are 4.8 wide. The DSP is 4.5 wide. So I want another strip that's 4.5 and then a square of 4.5. So there's my DSP, 4.5. So the piece for the top is going to be 4.5 by 10. This one is going to be 4.5 by 4.5. And because this is 4.5, we're going to mark on the edge at 4.5 and cut the angle. Was method in my madness. Right. And then this piece here, we want it to be 14 centimetres. And again, just marking that at 4.5 on this one on the top edge because you're going to cut down at an angle. So I'll lay these pieces out so you can have a look in a moment. Right. Okay. So, here we go. So these are layering directly on top. So, okay. Right. So those are the pieces that we have got now to go onto our layers. So we just want to add those together. And with the top one, you want a very narrow piece of acetate. So I'm just actually going to lay that up on the bottom because I thought it'd be rather nice just to have that right narrow border. On this one, before we actually sandwich them together, I'm going to add a piece of tape to the back here. Because on the back there, it was just while I remembered about it actually before I got carried away sticking it on. So this piece is where we're going to add our strip for our butterfly. Now I've deliberately kept it long, so I've cut a strip that's just 1 centimetre, and that's going to add onto there. So I'm just going to cut it quite long at the moment before we add that on completely. So I've used some red tape, or you can use your Seal Plus to add that in. So when you put it on your card, well, you can put it wherever you want, but I've put it so that it comes out onto this top piece here. Okay, let's just add our next final layer of DSP. And I'm not worrying about getting an edge on the top, border on the top there, because that's going to be hidden away. Okay. So. again, it's easiest to open it out. So this is just a very narrow border. Now if you find that you're a little bit out on your card at all, then the easiest way to remedy that is, because it's not stuck, you can see here, all you need to do is just fold it back out of the way and trim with your scissors, and you will still get that nice border in there. It's always, I always find with triangular pieces, sometimes you only have to be when you're doing a very narrow border, as I've done here, you can be just a few, just a millimetre or so out, and it just makes it a little bit tight. I think it's probably because originally I was going to have them not having a border at the bottom, and I've obviously changed my mind and not my measurements. So so that one, there we go. But that way it's a really nice flush fit at the top. We've got those pretty layers, as you can see there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on some of the other butterflies. So with the die cut, detailed die butterflies, on my original card, I kind of felt they were a little bit heavy. So I thought I'd do something slightly different. So what I've actually done is I've die cut some in plain white, which I thought would make a change. And I've also I've stamped and die cut, and again I've all prepared these so that whenever I want to do a butterfly, I've actually got the detailed dies and the layers ready to cut. So I thought if I added that and then had another couple of butterflies, and I've gone for the smaller ones, a couple of those there. And now what I'm going to do is grab your blending brushes, and I'm just going to add some colour to these. So it's another way to add some colour without being very sort of heavy with our ink. So I've got some Just Jade. You could potentially use sponge daubers as well. And I'm just going to come in with a bit of Just Jade down the centre of my butterflies. Just going to work that off a little bit. So I've got a brush that I've kept for greens here, and I'm just going to add some mint macaron. I just thought it was a way of kind of echoing the way they are without doing any detailed sort of colouring. So just adding that, and then add my Just Jade again around the outer edges here. So echoing those colours in the papers to give a pretty mottled effect. And then I'm just going to brush over my detail one. So this is, as you can see, I'm just adding just a hint of colour, and by doing this rather than using blends, I'm getting a soft kind of and variegated feel to it, like so. So we're doing so a lot today. We're almost there. I'm going to layer up this butterfly onto the centre. So I'm going to add some glue down the centre, bend those wings up and pop our layer on the top. So you get that detail poking through. And with these ones, I'm just going to bend them up and put the glue down the body. I think it's kind of mottled effect, almost to kind of echo this here. Then good old tape. And this is where I'm just going to look at where that folds to and think about where I want my butterfly. So I can take a little